the relationship that you have with your daughter, your child, the relationships you have with your friends that are in front of these young child is really going to start to, we're not necessarily directly teaching them, but they're observing everything that we're doing as a parent, as a guardian.
Funny thing, isn't it? It takes lots of people a long time to come truly comfortable in your own skin. And I don't know, I found in my experience that unfortunately, in many ways, I probably didn't really reach that point until maybe I was 16, 17. Like that was the beginnings of it, I would say. And then after that, and then definitely like into adulthood. But like as I've now really gotten to the point of, I guess, being a bit of an ambassador for people being who they are and be yourself, and what that's the only thing that's truly unique in the entire world is ourselves, right? Like, I mean, there's so many different businesses and services that can be copied and replicated. People talk about a unique value proposition and all this sort of stuff, but it's odds on there are other people doing similar things. Like that's what I've learned in my journey anyway. But there's only one of us, and so if you're kind of robbing both yourself and the world, really, if you don't just be yourself. But it's one of those things I know, like I remember adults saying that to me when I was a kid, and I used to just kind of go, nah, I don't think so. I don't think people are interested in who I am.
It's easy said and done. And I think that's why our approach is it's really a show, don't tell. And the girls that we've worked with say, you always hear people say, don't compare yourself to girls on the internet. But how do we do that? So we take them through, a social media detox, and we take them through affirmations and journaling. So really, you said it wasn't till 16. For girls, it's often much later. We've got interns, we've got team members that work with the Big Sister experience that still are having trouble with boundaries, with establishing a strong sense of identity. It can be something that people go their whole lives pleasing others and not being true and authentic to themselves. So if we can empower these people with these skills and tools and strategies from an earlier age, it's just, going to be such a help to them as they do go through life. And I think it's also becoming so much of a bigger issue because, especially for our girls, which is where we work, they're exposed to things so much younger than we were back when we were pre-teens and teens. But their minds aren't actually developed yet to be able to deal with the consequences, the aftermath, the decision-making that comes with a lot of these things that they're exposed to. A lot of them have phones. A lot of them have social media. But they're not actually, their brains aren't actually developed enough. They haven't had enough experience, life experience, brain development as well, to be able to deal with that and make decisions that are right or more right or more wise, safer than if they were exposed to this at a bit of an older age. So we really have to start so much earlier. When you've got a daughter now, it's not starting to have these conversations with her about body image or friendship or conflict at 9, 10, 11. These need to be started to be discussed, 5, 6, 7, as soon as you can hold that discussion with them. And we always talk about the power in modeling. The relationship that you have with your daughter, your child, the relationships you have with your friends that are in front of these young child is really going to start to, we're not necessarily directly teaching them, but they're observing everything that we're doing as a parent, as a guardian surrounding them. So the earlier that we can start to do this as a parent, anybody, the better.
Yeah, it's tricky, isn't it? The reality of, they're exactly as you're saying, like trying to live out the values and behaviour that you want your kids to emulate, because the old do what I say, not as I do. We all know that definitely doesn't work. Now, look, I mean, one of the key topics that I highlighted, because I knew that it was something that you focus on significantly, just having a bit of a look at your programs and things like that you offer, is the topic of anxiety. So, I mean, anxiety, unfortunately, is probably at an all-time high in all age groups, but it's startling and disturbing just how high it is within kids. And so what, in your experience so far, I guess both anecdotally and maybe through your research, what do you think is the reason why there is more anxiety now in our teen and preteen girls?
I think a lot of what Chris said before, just the earlier age that these girls and children in general are exposed to information overload. Everywhere they look, they need to process and filter through just an immense amount of information everywhere they look. I think that as well, the higher use of social media is just bringing about comparison, and it's showing us what we should look like, what a good friendship should look like, what a good mother-daughter relationship, what a romantic relationship should look like. And these girls are feeling this immense pressure, and we as humans, we're herd animals. We're used to needing to fit in and needing approval. But what we're not used to is getting 10,000 random strangers from the internet giving us their approval or their disapproval within minutes of stating our opinion or putting a photo up. So I think that this overwhelming impact that we're getting by outsiders' opinion is causing immense anxiety in our young people.
Yeah, so the research is telling us now 1 in 3 girls and 1 in 5 boys is suffering from anxiety. And Bianca and I, we work directly with these girls, and we would say that it's probably higher than this, especially add in 2020 and all the difficulties and changes that have come around because of this year. And it's just that increase in pressure and that comparison and the lifestyles. I think if, COVID has shown us anything this year, it's that it's okay to slow down. It's okay not to have tennis one night and something the next night and something this night and then a party on this weekend. And this overpacked schedule, although teens do like to keep busy and socialise and things, it's not necessary to have that much of a packed lifestyle to then add to the pressures and the hormone changes that are naturally happening in our teens' brain anyway.
Yeah, it's a crazy time. I mean, yeah, for girls and for boys, but probably more so for girls. I mean, that's the reality, isn't it? I mean, I know with my sisters, I just thought they were crazy just the whole time. So it was kind of a bit of a funny experience for me. Like, I don't know, like our household was maybe a bit more conservative, so certain things weren't discussed, like feminine issues, things like that, for example. So for me, like, I didn't even know there was like a whole cycle, menstrual cycle and what that would do emotionally. So I got my first proper girlfriend when I was 16, and we were together a couple of weeks. It was just going amazing. I was just so in love. It was actually insane. Like, when I look back, because I was already telling everybody that I was going to marry her and all this sort of stuff, and there's people were absolutely ripping on me, and it was just roses for a couple of weeks, and then just boom, massive nosedive like for a week, and then it was kind of back to roses pretty much, and then another nosedive down the track, and then I was just like talking to my sisters like, what the hell is going on here? And they had to basically sit down and tell me about, not the birds and the bees, like, knew about that part of things, but I didn't know anything about like a hormone menstrual cycle. And they're like, it's okay, Brad, this is probably what's happening, it's going to happen. I was like, well, okay, I didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah, and I think, I think to some levels as well, girls themselves, we are often never taught, no one explains to you, why are you feeling this way? Why is there 1 week a month that you're feeling really sad and you feel really critical of yourself and you don't like your body? And no one really explains this stuff to you. So this is what Kritz and I love to do, just open up a safe space for these girls to ask these questions without feeling judged, without feeling silly, and to say, hey, I'm feeling crazy here because this is what's happening. And it's just really nice to see the light bulb go on when we do open these conversations in a workshop. And, you know, the girls are putting their hand up, that everyone in the room can identify with that feeling.
And I think this is why, you know, it's so important that, you know, sometimes we get the question, what about the boys? And I think this is why there always does need to be, you know, different programs targeted to those that identify as females and those that identify as males, because statistics and research is showing us that they've got different issues. And, you know, if we did a co-ed workshop and we started talking about, you know, your cycle, although it is great for boys and men to know about that, they don't really need to know the intricate details, but it's important for them to be aware of it. So it's very hard for us not to segment what we do teach. And that's not to say that boys don't need to be informed as well. Like you said, it would have been nice for you to have known that as well. We definitely agree. We always say, a lot of the parents we work with have sons as well, and we're like, open the discussion with them about this type of thing. You know, I even remember speaking to one of my male friends, and it's like, oh, I just never knew the impact that, you know, contraception had, the pill had on a girl's body. And I just wanted to thank my girlfriend for, you know, putting her body through that. And we're just not aware of that until we're informed. So knowledge is really power. And I think the next generation is definitely going to be more aware and conscious, not only of themselves, but of the opposite sex and what they're going through as well, and how we can really work together to create just a better, you know, society and lifestyle for us.
Yeah.